Hey, all, Nev here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Wanted to come in and chat a little bit about what's happening in the market. And when I talk about market in today's episode, I'm actually really talking about paper asset market. So focusing on stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. And you might have seen a post that I had created and shared yesterday that, over the past, I don't know, week or so, market has been really behaving erratically. And it's been happening for a little while. That's kind of like prices were going up, prices were going down. But we've had a very large movement last week where the Dow dropped just short of 1,200 points. And right after that, so that was Friday, I believe, it closed. And, I wasn't paying much attention because I'm not in paper assets, so I don't pay as much attention to it and I don't watch it all the time. Occasionally I might speculate in a market. Occasionally I might go in and put a trade if it's something short term that can give me a quick big boost. But I really go in, get out. I don't play the long game inside the Wall Street casino. So that's just kind of how I do things. Now, there are some of the things. So anyways, I stopped over at the gas station, filled up my car, and went inside to grab a cup of coffee, and saw the USA Today article that I will do my best to post with this video up for you to be able to see. And you might have seen it already from this weekend where it kind of talked about that. That sort of sent a little bit of signal to say, hey, maybe I should go check it out and let's find out what happened. So I went in, did a little bit of research, and had decided that it would be a great idea for me to jump in and take a look at the potentially investing or speculating, let's put it that way, because it's not really investing in my book, but to put in a trade or two, to put in a bet or two, and see if I can, benefit from a bit of a hot mess that is happening right now in the marketplace. So that was my plan. That was my idea. I don't have brokerage accounts with anybody. I used to be on TD Trade. I used to be on E-Trade. I don't have any of those accounts. I shut them all down. I don't use them. I've already told you that. But, I am shamelessly or shamefully, I don't know, you get to decide. I do have a Robinhood app, and I did some videos about how they make money, but I just kind of have it over there because it's a quick, easy on my phone to put in a trade, to take a look at kind of what's happening and what's going on. And, one thing that I do kind of like about them, is that my trades are free, so I don't have to pay the $10 that I used to have to pay to TD Trade or E-Trade. I think it was like 10 and $15 or whatever. So it's free to trade through them. But there are problems with it, of course, because if you're not a user or you're not a customer, you are the product. And so that's the problem that we're facing with places like Facebook, Google, and Robinhood as well. So I did do a post about that, so feel free to go and check it out. If you can't find it on the page, it's going to be on my YouTube channel, on MoneyTube. It's pretty easy to find, and you can scroll down. There's a bunch of videos that you can watch, and of course, it's all free. So I decided on Monday, I was like, all right, I'm going to jump on Robinhood because it's right there in a meeting. There's a little bit of a break going on. And I'm like, all right, let me put in some trades. Let's make a little bit of money. I can't help myself. Look, I do predominantly invest in real estate. I do some stuff with precious metals and cryptos. I've already shared that with you. But I'm like a well-trained cat. The moment I see that string move fast, I gotta jump on it. I can't help myself. It's instinctual at this point in my life. So I jumped in, and I saw basically a black screen. The platform was down. I don't know if any of you were on Robinhood, went and saw that. I took a screenshot because I wanted to share it with you, and I'll make sure to post that as well alongside this video so that you can see it. later that afternoon, I received an email from Robinhood saying, "Oh, we are experiencing problems. Sorry, you can't trade." And I'm going, "Duh, I saw that already. Thanks for letting me know." About, 4 or 5 hours after I saw it anyways. But what I could see is the news feed. So I was like, whatever, day goes on, moving on. It would have been a small funds that I would have put in anyways, because I don't want to bet the farm on something like this anyways. And then later on that day, around 6:30 p.m., I went back in and the app was still down, and but I could see the news feed. So I went to the news feed and noticed that the Dow went up about 500 points. And I'm like, dang it, I was going to go and make a trade, and my trade was going to be on volatility, and my trade was going to be partially shorting Dow, and then there was going to be a very small amount to actually go up Dow, right? To bet on that is going to go up, and that was going to be a day trade. So I could have actually made a bit of money, but there goes that. Then yesterday, an interesting thing happened where you might have seen it, where the Fed kind of had an emergency meeting, and they're using coronavirus as this potential threat. Whether it's true or not, I really don't know. Whether Robinhood truly did have a glitch in the system, or it was a systematically put in a glitch, I don't know. I have no proof of one way or the other. Anything is possible. So, but it was an interesting component to kind of see what has transpired. And, I will share about what happened yesterday. But the key thing to remember and to think through is that if you do have money in the markets, and you're depending on a third party, and with the stock market, it's really interesting because it's not just like one third party, because you have that platform, that's a third party that you kind of have to depend on. And so if anything happens to them, like it did happen on Monday, you couldn't buy, you couldn't sell, you couldn't do anything, right? So even if you wanted to go in and sell and protect whatever wealth you had made maybe last year, over the last few years, you couldn't have done anything because you couldn't even log in, so you couldn't even sell it. So that's risk number one. Risk number two is the third party risk of the companies and kind of what's happening at the market, because none of us control what happens inside the Wall Street casino. Even the Wall Street doesn't control what happens inside the Wall Street casino. And so there is that third-party risk that comes with all of those components that oftentimes we don't think about when we go into these markets, and when we go in and trade and bet, and or for some people they go in very much long term. So that's another risk. So for me, I really do like a no risk asset, no third party risk asset, and precious metals in physical form are going to be that for you. Cryptos have a little bit of different role and play with that, because you still have a third party risk through the exchanges, because you have to use an exchange to be able to buy it. And, of course, then you have to store it inside the wallet. So you have a risk with the wallet as well. So there's risk over there as well, just in case you are wondering whether there is risk for it as well. Real estate, of course, has risks. I mean, everything has risks, y'all. The physical precious metals, the risk is of storage, like where are you going to store that stuff, and if you put it with a third-party company, then your risk is with them to be able to keep it secure and get it to you, right, so that you can have a possession. If you store it on site somewhere where like you kind of potentially know where that somewhere is, now your risk is really of, if people find out, if you store it in your house, then there's a huge risk of somebody, potentially breaking in and entering, especially if they know you're storing it there, and especially as the market prices go up. So you want to be very careful, cautious, and creative above all. So then we go in and jump into yesterday. So then yesterday, the Fed had an emergency meeting, and they dropped the interest rates by 5%. That is a huge drop. Typically, when they do make drops, they make drops maybe 0.25%, right? So to make a decision to drop it, not 5%, sorry. 0.5%, so 0.05%. Right? No, 0.5%. Sorry. It's still early in the morning. My brain is not firing on all cylinders. But if so when they do that, that signals that there's something majorly happening, and they're hoping that they can sustain the market. But the moment they did that, then the Dow dropped again, just short of 800 points. So if we look at it from Friday up until today, because the markets are not open yet, the investors, or speculators, as I prefer to call them, have lost just right, like we're what, 12 plus 5 minus 8, so about 1,500 basis points. That's a pretty steep loss, and something not to sneeze about. And so it depends just kind of when you bought, right? So there goes that. So that's kind of what's happening. But I did jump in and I did make a few trades. So the platform was back up yesterday. So last night I made a few trades, and because of what the Fed did and kind of what's happening, I did go in and decide to bet on the volatility. So I believe volatility is going to be rather active over the, at least a short period. So this is not like when I go in and do these things, y'all, I don't buy it and kind of hold it for forever. It really is a trade. And so the downside of that is that I will get dinged on the taxes, right? So I will have to pay the capital gain taxes on the short term. So those are going to be equal to my income taxes. However, because of the real estate, my income taxes are less than what I would have to pay on capital gains. So that's right. So it's okay. You're gonna have to pay taxes. There's no going around it. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing that. I am also shifting from equities into bonds. I believe that bonds are in a positive sort of trend, and I've done a bit of a research last night and have found that they have been performing rather nicely, and they did really well. I did put in some trades last week, I'll be very honest, and I'm happy to report that out of 4 trades that I put in, 3 of them are up. One is up 83%, another one is up 140%, one is up 17%, and then one is down 0.05%. So overall, I am doing rather well with my bets that I have put in. We'll see how I do with the new set of what I did. And please understand, this is not me telling you what to do. This is just me sharing what I have done, just in case if that's helpful to you, because the goal really is to try to help you understand and help you start thinking a bit differently. Right? Like, I don't want you to just follow the what's happening. I want you to really start thinking for yourself. That's really going to be the key component here. So hope this was helpful to you. Until next time, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you are only one deal away.